Yo, what's good? This your main correspondent, Alan Taylor, and I'm back in the broadcast room yet again, always with another one. Yes, indeed, it is another one. So we have Byron Donalds goes on, ABC, and listen, look, my thing of this is that you can't ask somebody else what another person meant for the words that come out of that other person's mouth. It's just, now, as we can see right here, this angry looking dude right here decided to ask brother Brian some questions about what Trump said in the when he was talking to the what was it, the the NABJ, excuse me. Yes. And it didn't just quite go right. But thank God the brother held masculine frame, because the other ankle was losing his shit.
So what the French toast is there to think about?
He was losing it. All right. So, yes, we're going to go right here, right now on the bottom line. Quarters, nickels, and dimes, people.
Just bring in Republican Congressman and Trump ally Byron Donalds. Congressman, thank you for joining us this morning. Why is former President Trump questioning the vice president's racial identity?
Well, first, George, in Chicago, he was responding to a question from, I believe, Rachel Scott. Like, this is really a phony controversy. I don't really care. Most people don't. But if we're going to be accurate, when Kamala Harris went into the United States Senate, it was AP that said she was the first Indian American United States senator. It was actually played up a lot when she came into the Senate. Now she's running nationally. Obviously, the campaign has shifted. They're talking much more about her father's heritage and her Black identity. It doesn't really matter. The president mentioned it. What he also talks about far more frequently is the fact that Kamala Harris is the person who created this massive inflation, which is destroying Black families, white families, Hispanic families. It's her failure as border czar that has left our southern border wide open, more than 10 million illegal immigrants coming into our country, record fentanyl coming into our country, which has killed more Americans than at any other point in the history of our country with respect specifically to fentanyl. And the fact that she and Joe Biden have unleashed one of the worst foreign policies in the history of our country that has us on the verge of World War III. That is Kamala Harris's record. President Trump talks about that frequently, but yes, he did mention it in Chicago in response to a question from Rachel Scott.
And you just repeated the slur again. If it doesn't matter, why do you all keep questioning her identity? She's always identified as a Black woman.
Okay, now, this slur situation. It's not a slur to talk about somebody's identity. If that's the case, then, Black people got a huge problem here. We've been taking a lot of slurs in this country. But no, the thing of this is that, they're trying to keep this, going for a bunch of reasons. And definitely the main reason is to keep everybody unfocused. Kamala hasn't came out, talked about anything tangible. We haven't heard any type of new policies that she's going to come up with. Yes, we want to know where the hell the money at out here. How we're going to shut down this crisis that we're having in our southern states. What is going on? I'm definitely with that. How are we going to fix this economy to where people won't have to pay, $80,000 to live in a 500 square foot apartment and shit? Like, come on.
So what the French toast is there to think about?
I mean, yeah, I'm over exaggerating on the amount, but y'all get what I'm saying. It's crazy out here. Come on.
I mean, she is biracial. She has a Jamaican father and an Indian mother. She's always identified as both. Why are you questioning that?
Well, George, first of all, this is something that's actually a conversation throughout social media right now. There were a lot of people who are trying to figure this out. But again, that's a side issue, not the main issue. The main issue.
Sir, 1 second. You just did it. You just did it again.
Of the United States.
Why do you insist on
2 minutes
questioning her racial identity?
He ain't said nothing about race. That's beside the point, bat. See, it's these bats out here. And look at him. He got to have glasses on because he's a bat. No, let me stop. But no, seriously. It doesn't make any sense. He's talking about the man started trying to give slurs and stuff. No, sir. You're trying to get off the topic that we need to be talking about, that we want to talk about out here, that needs to actually be brought forth to the actual stage. Is where is the policies? What's going on? What are the next 4 years going to look like for American citizens? That's what we want to know.
What the French toast is there to think about?
We don't want to know anything else. Nobody cares that she has an Indian mother and a Jamaican father. And guess what? Jamaica is a place, not a race.
You'll thank me in the morning.
You ain't right, man.
Oh, I'm right. You'll see.
Want me to talk?
I want you to answer my question.
Yelling at George, now that you're done yelling at me, let me answer. He talked about it on the stage yesterday in Atlanta for 2 minutes? He spent more than 35, 40 minutes going after her record, talking about how radical of a senator that she was. She was the most liberal senator in the United States, in the United States Senate. That is a fact. He talked about the job that she did as vice president of the United States, a job, I will add, which has been a failure for the American people. I know you guys like to glom on to this that he talks about in jest or in a serious manner for about a minute or so, but what you do not cover is the litany of failures of Kamala Harris. That's what you're not covering, George.
So questioning somebody's racial identity for a couple minutes is okay?
George, I'm going to tell you again, he brought it up. AP is the one that wrote the headline when she first came in to the United States Senate. Didn't talk about her being black, talked about her being the first Indian American senator. AP brought that up. I mean, George, we could have this conversation for the entire segment, but none of this matters to the American people. What matters to the American people is, are we going to have the same policies of the Biden-Harris administration that has been destructive of the American people? Or are we going to have the policies of the Trump administration, which put America first, had low inflation, prosperous Americans, no matter your race, no matter your color, no matter your creed, and a foreign policy that kept America safe?
And what the French toast is there to think about?
Yeah. That's what we're interested in. This new age news, man, it's just totally different, man. I remember growing up, they didn't just, I mean, it was a certain amount of propaganda growing up to a degree, thinking back, looking, at the 90s and stuff like that. But it just was not like it is today. Those news anchors back then were just not just this, Hey, what these new age women say? What all these new age women say all the time just gives me the ick, just the ick.
And what the French toast is there to think about?
It's crazy out here.
Those are the facts that truly matter, because this issue is going to come and go. The lives of the American people is what's going to remain, and that's what matters more than anything else.
If it doesn't matter, I don't understand why you keep on repeating it, why the president keeps on repeating it, why those introducing the president yesterday
George,
keep
actually,
on
I'm
repeating
not the one who keeps repeating it. George, you're the one that's bringing it up now. You've
done it,
I understand why
sir.
you've done it.
You've done it 3 times. Every single answer you gave me. Now let me finish, sir.
George,
every single answer you gave, you repeated the slur.
Asked me, George. That's why I'm pushing back on you now. George, you asked me the question 3 times. I responded, but
and every single time you repeat the slur. That is exactly my point.
So what is it exactly that you want this man to say? What is it exactly that this George, the anchor here, the white guy, hey. What is it exactly that you want this man to say? Because we're trying to figure this out here. Because he told you who actually brought the statement up first years ago about Kamala's actual birthright race. And then, now you want to talk about what Trump said at the journalist situation. it's like, yeah, he said the truth. Like, okay, he been knowing knowing of her for quite some time. She's always presented as a Indian, South Asian Indian lady. Now it's coming up that she's black and this and that, but the history's not adding up. The bloodlines are not adding up. So what are we talking about here? You just want people to overlook the bloodline because you just want people to keep going with this crap. I mean, it is what it is out here. We're sick of the games. And that's the problem. You see, this is how it goes when people are sick of the games and everybody just keeps trying to get this illusion still going. And we're out here you're not believing the illusion. What are you doing? How dare you not believe the illusion that we're trying to put out there? How dare you? You've been believing it for 60 damn years. What are you doing now?
What the French toast is there to think about?
You people have been believing it for 60 years. What are you doing? Why aren't you believing the illusions? What's going on? You're throwing slurs out here. Those are slurs, sir. They're slurs. Man, no, they're not slurs, sir. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you just need to clean your glasses.
What the French toast is there to think about?
You can't make this shit up.
But you old fish-eyed fool.
Yo, but it is what it is, though, man. Hey, shout out to all my subscribers out there. Mad love to y'all. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like, share, subscribe button. Make sure that you ring that bell to be notified whenever I decide to post things. And like I always say,
and that, my friends, is the bottom line.
That, my friends, is the bottom line.
Some other time.
Now I want to talk about it now. See,
Fred,
another reason
I said we'll talk about that some other time.
You don't tell me what I can talk about. You don't tell me what I can talk about in my own house.
Don't you point your finger at my nose, Fred Sanford.
I'll point my finger at your nose and I'll point my foot somewhere else.